Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Annie and this is Unity Consciousness. Today we're going to be discussing the energy that will be prominent this week, and today is the 10th of May and will continue through the weekend. Before we get started, I do want to discuss that the energy is going to continue to intensify over the course of the month. We are in eclipse season, so that super full moon in Scorpio really kicked things off, and the energy is just beginning to really gain some momentum and make some significant shifts in ourselves, but also the collective. So what does that mean for us this week? Super excited about a new moon in Taurus that is going to occur tomorrow, which is the 11th. I'll discuss the energies around this new moon, but I would like, and I've segregated the days around the new moon as well, and the energy that will be coming in to fortify or supplement this new moon energy. You could be feeling some of these aspects of the full moon, or the energy, the planetary energy immediately following the new moon. It doesn't have to wait until Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of this week. You may be feeling it now. Energy doesn't just come in and go out unless it's fast-moving Gemini or Mercurial energy. But it is very possible, especially if you're a sensitive individual, that you are feeling some of this energy now. So, okay, let's get started. So we've got a new moon in Taurus tomorrow. We've already discussed what Taurian energy is all about. It's sensory pleasure, so visual, taste, again, sight, sound, hearing, taste, touch. What is in your field of vision that is bringing up some of that type energy? With it being a new moon, please set an intention relative to that energy. We're getting rid of the old and we're ushering in the new. Our last new moon was in Aries. It was very unbridled energy. This is Taurian energy, so it's tried and true. It's very loyal. It's very stabilizing, very earthy. Allows us to decompress and have a greater sense of security, see our possessions in a different light perhaps. But be mindful as well of possessiveness and stubbornness, because that's the lower vibration of Taurian energy. So at the time of the new moon, you want to set an intention for the next 30 days or so until the next new moon. Now we do have an eclipse cycle that's part of this, so that energy may extend out beyond. But let's set it for 30 days. Match that Taurian energy that we just discussed. Now here's some of the aspects that I want you to be aware of relative to this new moon. So what else is happening at that time? There are 5 planets in fixed signs. We've talked about fixed sign energy, so it can be very stubborn, very difficult to move off its mark. So we've got Saturn and Jupiter in Aquarius. We've got Uranus and the Sun, which happens to be a star, not a planet, but I'm going to group it in the planets category, and the moon in Taurus. So we also have Black Moon Lilith, which is representative of a point of reference, but it's raw energy. It is very primitive, instinctual responses towards things, and also Ceres, which is the goddess of harvest. So all of these planets and or points of reference, or Sirius is actually an asteroid. So they are all in these fixed signs. So that means energy that really doesn't want to move, but it's going to, because we've got eclipse season and this is a new moon. So the new moon is at the midpoint of Saturn at 13 degrees of Aquarius, which is indicative of the old, and Jupiter, which is at 29 degrees of Aquarius, which represents the new. So this also represents humanity's transformation is at its midpoint. So this ascension process, although it is going to take a few more years, the intensity has pushed us to a midpoint. or there's a larger number of people that are awakening, and we'll get more into that aspect of Jupiter entering Pisces, the awakenings that are also occurring relative to this energy surrounding the eclipse, which is supplemented by this new moon in Taurus. So with humanity's transformation, it's going to, and also the fact that Jupiter is at 29 degrees of Aquarius. So that's, again, a high degree of a sign, which means that it is intensified. So it emphasizes revolutionary sides to things, and it's pure thought that blends with reality so that we can make changes. Very important to note. A lot of changes happening this week that are supported by this new moon that will be comfortable for us when we see where it falls in our chart, if you have your natal chart, or just by listening to this video and understanding what parts of your life will be affected by it, noticing that there will be a change and embracing that change for the greater good of yourself and that also of the collective. So at the same time of this new moon being at the midpoint of old versus new in this transformational energy, the sun and moon are also trine Pluto. Pluto represents transformation. This is a very positive aspect, again, supporting the transformation, changes that you want to make, this new beginning. It's fully supported by this new moon. They are, these changes could be fast because, again, we've got Uranus in this configuration. And when we have this many planets supporting Uranus, it is supplementing that energy, which is fast change out of the blue. So you can expect that. And also a sense of validation, the sun and the moon. So it's who you are and your feelings associated. And any transformational changes relative to that are supported. You can feel validated. You can feel much, much, much better about things, decisions you've made, and new beginnings that you want to kick off at the time of this new moon. Also, Mars is in Cancer at the time of this new moon, and it is harmonizing with Uranus. So Mars, action, wanting to take action. Cancer is a very emotional sign, but it's also caring for others, being extremely compassionate. And Pluto, again, transformation. So it's a very positive aspect that gives us the power to transform areas of our life that need to be transformed. And again, it's very motivating for us to care for others. It's very motivating for us to make changes and supportive for us to make changes to help others. So this unity consciousness theme is really beginning to be driven home. Especially if it's somebody that we come across that is the underdog or someone who we know that we can help without a codependent situation. This new moon is giving us all of the energy, all of the power that we need to make these changes for the greater good for ourselves, but also for others. And it can also represent feeling like there has been a fortunate turn of events. And I know certainly in my life, it's important to recognize that. And one occurred over the weekend that I'm super excited about, and just out of the blue, an opportunity for me to spend some time at a location that is very, very, very helpful to me from a energetic standpoint, but it also will supplement my energy in the coming days and will allow me to pull as much energy as I can from that environment to also continue to produce videos. So I can see where that Mars in Cancer harmonizing with this new moon, I'm already starting to feel the energy because of that. So then on Wednesday, which is the 12th, we've got Mercury in Gemini, which is 2 degrees away from the North Node. We've talked about North Node of the collective as well as you as an individual. This is the direction that we're headed to aspire the direction that we're headed as we aspire to be the greatest rendition of ourself, or for unity consciousness, for that of the collective. But Mercury in Gemini is speaking in harmony to Saturn in Aquarius. Both of those, Saturn being in Aquarius and Mercury being in Gemini, those are home planets for those signs. So Mercury in Gemini is new ideas that, again, can just come to you on a whim. And with the Saturn in Aquarius, we're going to see things differently. It could be a restriction that pops up that allows us to really look at things in a very different light. And with that recognition of change and seeing things differently, it's going to allow us to make changes personally that will last a long time. How many times have I said change in this video? This week is all about instigating change for the greater good, for your own stability and security and grounding, if you choose to look at it that way, that five-dimensional view of what's occurring. On Wednesday, I would keep a notepad handy because you could get some insight that's rather profound. And if you make note of these insights that occur to you relatively quickly, and again, with Mars in Cancer, we're going to have what we need to instigate that change and move it forward. But that insight could come in really quickly. So if you just write it down, it'll allow you to reflect on that and get that change rolling as we resonate with this new moon energy. And don't hesitate to share. If you've got some great insight, some brilliant insights, please share it with others. Again, Mercury's in Gemini, so that's also sharing of information, and all by means as well as spoken, typed, written energy. So do share. Do share what you find, these moments of illumination, of insight. Do share it with others, and use boundaries and restrictions to your benefit, whether you have to set them yourself for your own personal advancement or healthy detachment to allow you to move away from a situation that seems to be, overwhelming. Then another great aspect this week I'm super excited about, on Thursday, which I believe is the 13th, Jupiter enters Pisces. And Jupiter's going to enter Pisces and then go retrograde and go back into Aquarius. This snapshot in time between now and actually it's about the time of the eclipse in mid to late June. Make note of what's happening in your life, because when Jupiter goes retrograde, then it's going to go stationary direct and go back into Pisces, but much later in the year, late in December, and I believe it is going to remain in Pisces until about May. So this little snapshot of time, this 4 or 5 weeks here, is going to be indicative of what we're going to see more prominent in our lives beginning the end of December through May. So Jupiter, very exciting, expansive energy, and it's going to expand Piscean energy because it is entering Pisces. So those with water signs, Pisces, Scorpio, and Cancer, early degrees, or in the early days of those zodiac signs, are going to feel this the most. It is very, very beneficial to those folks, and it is going to expand, again, Piscean energy, meaning Piscean energy is very intuitive energy. It's expansive energy. It can be real dreamy, but you can get a great deal of recognition and luck and support if you are a water sign during this period of time. I do believe as a collective we will feel it as well, because we're feeling all this energy so intensely, and because this has such a beneficial quality to it, I do believe that it will offset some of the anxiety that is out there if you choose to see the Piscean energy in 5-dimensional levels. So that's again, higher power and belief systems that there is a greater good, and also the belief of unity consciousness. again, make note of what's happening in your life and understand that this energy will again be prominent for you beginning late in December through May of next year. This is very high frequency energy. It is this new moon is mutable, meaning that it's a mutable water sign. So it can feel overwhelming at times too. Make sure that you ground these feelings that you have, especially if you start really drifting into the dreamy state of Piscean energy. Ground yourself. Use that Taurian energy to ground yourself. Get out in nature. Enjoy sensory pleasures. Have a really good meal. Again, Mercury's in Gemini, so you can have a very fulfilling conversation as well. So that is Thursday. Then on Friday, Mercury enters shadow. We've talked about Mercury retrograde cycles before. I don't want to speak again in great detail, but one thing I do want to note is that Mercury in Gemini, that's its home sign. So that energy is going to be even more prominent. So this Mercury retrograde cycle could be really cattywampus on many fronts relative to communications and means of communication. So be very mindful when you do speak. Understand that your words can have a great deal of gravity and powerful magnitude. And when someone is speaking to you and sharing with you, be mindful of that as well. Make sure that you're listening for the purpose of hearing what they're saying, because what they're saying is very important to them. And it's important that they communicate that to you during Mercury retrograde. I would also journal this week, make note of the date, make note of the energy, and then see where that fits in. Is it a Jupiter enters Pisces kind of energy that will be again prominent later in the year? Are we looking at Mercury retrograde? Could it be something relative to communications that's going cattywampus? Just make note of it, and that way you can track it back to which segment of energy is going on this week and where you'll begin to see it pop up again later for you. Be mindful. What can you do this week? Be mindful of self-care. The 3D, when I take a step back, or throw all this energy in a pot and boil it down, when I take a step back and look at it from a three-dimensional perspective, there can be a lot of drama, a lot of chaos, and just overwhelming sensations and feelings. Bring yourself back into that five-dimensional energy. Tune out the drama. Tune out the external voices. Don't listen to the voice in your head if that voice in your head is not giving you positive feedback. Shut it down. Get outside. Hang out with your dog. Create music. We've got Piscean energy, so it's very artsy. If you can draw, if you're a designer of some kind, sit down and draw. Create music. Pet your dog. Hug a tree. Get out in nature, because those are the kind of things that are going to bring that three-dimensional feeling up to. It's going to raise that vibration to a five-dimensional vibrational energy. And always remember that love is the highest vibration. Whether you're telling yourself that you love yourself, you appreciate the instances or occurrences that have happened to you into your life because it's made you who you are, be appreciative of that this week. Love is the highest vibration. So if you're feeling down, apply that love to yourself. Give yourself some love. Speak kindly to yourself. If you find that someone you love is overwhelmed, tap into that Mars and Cancer energy. Be compassionate and help those. Show that love. Tell the people that you love them. It's no doubt that we just had Mother's Day yesterday. Happy Mother's Day to the mothers out there. But that show of love will be so helpful and supportive to those that are really struggling at this time. And then a question I want to leave you with. We are getting very close to the sun in the North Node and a lot of energy surrounding the North Node at this time, getting ready to step into eclipse season that has absolutely everything to do with the nodal placement of the collective right now. So I'm going to ask you, how are you contributing to the collective to raise its level of consciousness. What are you doing personally to help raise the level, the frequency, the higher frequency of the collective? It's interesting to think about. Anyway, have a super fantastic week. A lot of energy going on. If you like this video, please like it. If you want to share it with friends, please do. If you have any comments, post them in the comment section below. I'll be checking it over the course of the week. And enjoy every bit of this new moon. Manifest, manifest, manifest. Set intentions. Let's use this new energy for the greater good, our own personal, but that of the collective. Bye-bye. Namaste.